For years, I dreamed of the ultimate streaming setup. Many cameras, all the angles I could need, close-up shots, wide shots, overhead shot, bird's eye shots, multiple cameras, multiple game capture sources, screen capture. I wanted it all. And now, at long last, it's finally possible. It's alive! The Elgato Cam Link Pro. Affordable 4-camera 1080p 60 or 4K 30 multicam capture and streaming. Is it the solution we've all been waiting for? Or is it just 4 cam links glued together? Find out in this video, stick with me. I'm EposVox, the stream professor, and I have reviewed more capture cards than I could count on this channel. I gave up counting. But until now, I've only reviewed one multi-input capture card. Not because there haven't been other multiple input capture cards on the market, or even that I haven't even owned them. I have another one right here. But there just haven't been any that actually do what I needed to do at the level that I needed to do it. For a bit of context, there's currently 2 other 4-input capture cards on the market, at least reasonable ones. The BlackMagic Decklink Quad HDMI and the Magewell Quad Pro Capture HDMI. There's also the ATEM Mini line of video switchers, but those do not send all 4 inputs to your computer. The Magewell card is great for retro captures and specific full control scenarios, but it only supports 1080p and is $900. The Decklink Quad capture card seems perfect on the surface. 4 4K 60 uncompressed 10-bit inputs ready to capture in full quality for under $600. At the time, that was the most affordable option. But it requires 8 PCIe lanes and seems to have frame drop quirks with the Threadripper 3000 that they've known about since July 2020. I own 2 of them, but they haven't quite done what I needed without causing frustration with those frame drops. So here enters Elgato with the Cam Link Pro. 4 HDMI inputs that can do up to 4K 30, including 1080p 60 and 1440p 60, using only a PCIe X4 slot. For cheaper than a single input 4K 60 Pro originally cost at just $350, sign me up. You can obviously use multiple capture cards in a system, though if you go USB, you will quickly run into USB chipset limitations, bandwidth issues, and so on. But having a bunch of inputs running through a single card definitely lends itself to more stability and reliability, especially given the USB cam link's proclivity towards showing a black screen all the time. Something still plaguing my own cam links that I own. PCIe capture cards are just better in many regards. The Cam Link Pro answers your multi-input needs as well as stability desires, assuming you're on a desktop and can use a PCIe capture card. Plus, it's great for video calling too, as I'll cover in a bit. It supports 720p, 1080i, 1440p, and 1080p up to 60 FPS, and then 4K at 30 FPS. Unfortunately, that's not just capturing 30 FPS, it also only supports 30 Hz input signal at all at 4K. So even splitting off 4K 60 inputs won't work unless you have something like an HDMI matrix with a scaler in it or the HD Fury Diva to down convert to 1080p 60 from 4K 60 for the capture card input. YUV 422 chroma subsampling at 1080p is great, but I am disappointed that 4K is only captured at 420 chroma subsampling via NV12. This is due to bandwidth limitations, which has me asking the question that I've seen countless times in the comment section on my videos so far at this point, asking, why are we still on PCIe 2.0 in 2021? PCIe 3.0 X4 would theoretically be enough bandwidth for 4K 30 across 4 inputs at 422, maybe even at 444. Had they made 444 RGB work at 1080p and lower, this would have been a killer alternative to the Magewell Quad Capture HDMI Pro blah 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 for some of my retro capture needs and console needs as well. While this is obviously catered toward a camera capture, it's called the Cam Link Pro after all. It can be used for other captures as well. So if you're splitting off a bunch of computers, tablets, or game consoles at 1440p 60 or lower, this would be an incredibly valuable tool to get everything mixed and captured properly. Or even one PC or console input with other cameras, multiple PC inputs for various presentations and graphics. The possibilities are fairly endless here. For me, I immediately knew what I wanted to do and went to work connecting more cameras to my main desk setup. I'm starting to run out of cameras, but I have more angles I want to show. My primary desk setup consists of my ATEM, which is the Sony a7C on a teleprompter setup, which I will cover in a future video at a later date because I am stoked to talk about that, and a Panasonic G7 mounted overhead, from a shelf via impact super clamp and magic arm. This gives me a great talking head angle along with an overhead shot for showing off my various macro pads and control surfaces I plan on using at my desk setup, as well as unboxing specific products, things like that, to connect to my editing rig. I'm adding a second overhead cam for my gaming PC side and Elgato's green screen mouse mat soon, as well as a second face cam for that side. I'm just waiting on the mounting hardware to arrive for all that. Meanwhile, over in the gaming corner, things get wild.
I get Dragon Pulp VMAX? No way! That one has triple R, rare. And we get the weird pseudo reverse hollow Minchino. A VMAX full art and the secret rare full art and a shiny all in one pack.
On top of the USB cameras I have connected, I have a 4-camera multicam setup with 2 Sony a6400s. One is my primary face angle, one over on the far right, which gives me a nicer view into the rest of the game room for when I'm organizing, picking games off a shelf, or bringing in a large package to unbox. And then I have a Panasonic G7 with a wide angle view over on the left side for another up close face option that puts the rest of my studio kind of in the backdrop, which is pretty sick. Finally, overhead, I have another Panasonic G7 mounted zoomed in at the desktop for unboxings and my Pokemon TCG openings that I stream over on Twitch and on my Pokemon HoloQuest YouTube channel. The cool thing is that at least for OBS, you can mix in USB webcams or phones connected via NDI or EposVox or your preferred app to add additional angles to your stream fairly easy. The Game Corner rig runs these cameras from the BlackMagic Decklink Quad HDMI capture card, but I'm switching this to another Cam Link Pro as soon as they go on sale, which should be at the time this video goes live. Firstly, for the weird frame drop issues that I mentioned that I'm having already with the Magewell or with the BlackMagic specific card, viewers don't seem to say anything about it, but it just drives me absolutely nuts. But there is a second reason I want to utilize the Cam Link Pro, and that's for its actual video switching capabilities. These enhance your streams and even your Zoom calls or other video calls way more than just having different inputs. Combine that with the new transition capabilities of OBS Studio version 27 and you can have an incredibly powerful stream pretty easily. While you're updating your installation of OBS, you should also consider updating your stream layouts with our sponsor, Nerd or Die. This is their sick new package, Amused. I love Nerd or Die's packages because they come with a variety of colors and configuration options that you can mix and match to make your own. Or if you buy the full stream package, you get the After Effects files to really make it your own and completely change it however you want. It's easy to install and affordable too. Nerd or Die provides more than just a template, it's a full stream experience. Head over to eposvox.gg/nerdordie and save 15% with my name at checkout. You see, Elgato also released a Stream Deck plugin with this card, allowing you to switch between the 4 HDMI inputs or switch between a variety of multi-view configurations on the fly with the press of a button. The first input device also acts as the multi-view device. So by adding this to OBS or your video calling or streaming app of choice, you can now change what it displays through the Stream Deck, with those controls, which is So I can switch between inputs 1, 2, 3, and 4, set up a quad view of all 4 inputs at once, a triple view, a side-by-side, or even build picture-in-picture layouts to show as well. You can customize how these split views are shown in the Stream Deck software with little previews of what is actually being shown through the inputs as well. Unfortunately, these live previews are not shown on the Stream Deck device itself. That might be a little bit too much to ask of the way the video is routed to it. The Cam Link Pro doesn't aim to just be a multi-input capture card consolidating what is likely a string of USB devices, for many, into a single card, but it also aims to serve as a rudimentary replacement for hardware video switchers as well. For most streamers or home presenters, this probably does a suitable job of replacing video switchers with something far more affordable, quiet, flexible, etc. But for those hoping that it would truly replace one, you might be left a tad disappointed. Switching inputs, while intuitive, is a bit clunky in its presentation. Sometimes it will show like a quick frame or two of another setup, as it seems to maybe kind of switch from a multi-view layout to the full screen view, then to the next multi-frame layout or something like that. So sometimes if you're switching inputs around, it can start to get a little like shuffled as it starts switching the inputs even after you've pressed the button. This just seems to be a delay in the actions rather than like an indication of a bigger problem, which is something many people actually complain about and have taken issue with regards to Elgato's multi-action macros in the Stream Deck itself, compared to just doing them with auto hotkey or something similar as well. I guess you could say Elgato software is a bit slow. You're also missing additional features from these devices, such as downstream keyers for graphics, chroma keying for green screens, and full control over your split layouts. This face and top-down split that I use for my Pokemon streams isn't possible through the native supported split views, unfortunately. But that is fine because I can add the individual devices to OBS itself and still do that on my own. If those features are things that you would be missing from this kind of setup, then the BlackMagic ATEM mini line of devices is probably more your speed, but they cost a lot more as well. I did want to note that all of this input switching works with basically any app you add the first input to. So even Zoom calls, you can switch angles, show all 4 inputs at once, do pictures in picture, etc. to your heart's content. So go impress your students or your podcast guests or whatever. While the input switching via the Stream Deck may sound self-explanatory to many, there's a big reason why I want it specifically over in my Game Corner streaming rig, and that is the ability to switch camera angles without switching scenes in OBS. I have a lovely multicam layout with a ton of scenes and etc. set up in OBS for my streams, but sometimes I just want to flip the camera angle while I'm talking and while keeping everything else the same. And really, it's pretty jarring or immersion breaking to have to completely shift scenes, transitions and all, just to change camera angles. Like if I'm talking here and I just want to shift over and keep talking, I don't want to have to transition to a full other scene for what is effectively the same idea. Even if you leave the transition uncut, your browser sources could reload or something. It's just not a smooth experience. With the Stream Deck Multi-View, I can just add one device listing to whatever scene in OBS and sneakily switch angles without changing my scene, allowing for a much smoother experience overall. Plus, I can still add each input as an individual device to have my custom, split overhead views and things like that. So I get the best of both worlds, and that's just a lot more powerful. I also wanted to note that the multi-view can operate at a full 4K 60 FPS. So if you have 4 1080p 60 inputs, you can record all 4 at the same time in full resolution, since 1080p is 1/4 of 4K, for splitting up later, which is very handy. Really, if you want something easy, the corner picture-in-picture mode could work great as a teaching or tutorial setup with screen capture or PowerPoint slides or whatever, and you have the full control to then switch between a full face cam view, the picture-in-picture view, and the full presentation view without having to do any editing, which is a huge efficiency bonus for a lot of workflows. The Cam Link Pro also supports multi-app, meaning you can access the capture card's video feed in multiple applications at one time. You can record your multi-view in OBS while streaming a specific angle in Zoom, or record the multi-view in 4K capture utility while switching scenes and specific inputs in OBS. I do, however, need to note that the multi-view setup always comes through input 1, so if you ever need input 1 recorded as its own device, you can't do that while using the multi-view. It's a minor annoyance. I would rather the multi-view be its own device, but I understand why they might have had to do it this way. This multi-app capability is becoming a standard feature for capture cards, and I absolutely love to see it. My dream ultimate multicam streaming setup is nearly complete. I'm making it a goal to utilize every webcam, extra phone, and camera inputting to a capture card that I have available to capture anything I could possibly imagine. My game streaming corner will have more than 10 HDMI inputs by time it's done, not including my main PC and my other capture rigs. Things are getting wild in the new studio. Product links to the Elgato Cam Link Pro will be in the description. Hit the like button and subscribe for more tech education, and join us over on Discord for more stream guides goodness. I'm EposVox, your stream professor, and I'll see you in the next one.